If you're shopping for the best water filter for lead removal, the tricky part usually isn't finding something that says it handles lead. It's figuring out what actually fits the way you use water every day. You might only care about the water you drink and cook with. Or you might want lead reduction at every tap in the house, including the shower and laundry. That's why I pulled together a mix of countertop, under-sink, reverse osmosis, and whole-house systems so you can see what makes sense for your space, your routine, and how much water you want covered. And if you want to compare for yourself, I've put links to the best price I've found right now for each lead removal water filter in the description box below. Starting with the most compact option in this best water filter for lead removal lineup, the Crystal Quest LED Countertop Water Filter System is the one that makes the most sense when you want lead-focused filtration without getting into a full plumbing project. It sits right on the counter, connects to a regular kitchen faucet, and uses a diverter valve so you can switch between filtered and unfiltered water as needed. That means you can pour a glass, fill a kettle, or rinse produce with filtered water, then flip right back to normal tap water for other tasks, although I definitely recommend sticking with filtered water where possible. The lead story here is very direct. Every configuration includes a dedicated lead filter cartridge, and the system's lead stage is built around a 1/2 micron lead and cyst removal carbon block, so you're not relying on a vague multi-purpose filter to do all the work. That matters because lead removal stays front and center instead of being treated like a side benefit, like with cheaper filters. So when your main goal is cleaner, healthier drinking water at the sink, this setup stays focused on the important job of lead removal. What changes as you move from the single to the double or triple version is how much broader the cleanup becomes. The smart cartridge adds a blend of coconut shell activated carbon, catalytic carbon, Eagle redox alloys, and ion exchange resin. So you also get help with chlorine, chloramine, heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, and taste issues. On the triple version, there's also a 5-micron solid carbon cartridge that traps sediment, silt, sand, and dirt while taking on VOCs and industrial solvents. The result is water that feels way more thoroughly filtered and clean at the glass instead of just narrowly filtered for one contaminant. Being the best faucet water filter for lead removal, it's also an easy fit for smaller kitchens and shared spaces. The white housing is BPA-free, there's a stainless option if you want a more premium look, and even the triple version keeps a slim countertop footprint. With a max flow rate of 0.5 gallons per minute, it's aimed at drinking and cooking water rather than trying to behave like a whole house system, which is exactly why it works so well in apartments, offices, and tighter kitchens. If you're still asking what is the best water filter for lead removal for an apartment or smaller kitchen, this affordable Crystal Quest faucet filter is a great option. By the way, are you mainly trying to fix drinking and cooking water? Or do you already know you want whole house coverage? I'm genuinely curious what pushed you to start looking and on what scale you're looking to eliminate lead. Next up in the best lead water filter system category, the US Water Systems Pioneer goes in the opposite direction, because this is a whole house lead removal system. It's built around 0.5 micron nominal filtration and reliably handles both soluble lead and particulate lead. So you're covering the form you can't see and the form attached to particles. It's also certified to NSF and ANSI 53 for lead and cyst reduction, and to NSF and ANSI P 473 for PFOA and PFOS, which gives you a much stronger trust signal when you want more than a drinking water only setup. The big everyday payoff is that the water you drink, cook with, shower in, and wash clothes with is all coming through the same lead-focused treatment path. The Pioneer is especially strong if you're comparing the best water filter to remove lead front runners and don't want whole house coverage to feel weak when more than one fixture is running. It's rated for 100,000 gallons at 4.51 gallons per minute for lead, PFOA, and PFOS reduction, and it has an impressive 8 gallons per minute peak flow with 99.62% lead reduction. That means it's built to keep up with real household use instead of forcing you into a slow, single faucet experience. So when someone's in the shower and you're filling a pot in the kitchen, the system maintains a strong flow. The ownership side is more thoughtful than a lot of whole house filters. A real-time LED system monitors water usage and flow rate, then gives you a green, yellow, or red visual signal, so you know whether the filter is good, getting close, or needs changing now. The meter is preset to 100,000 gallons, so you're not guessing based on the calendar alone. And because the cartridge swap uses snap ring technology with no tools required, filter changes feel a lot less intimidating than the old-school whole house setups that turn maintenance into a Saturday project. Installation is what you'd expect from a serious point-of-entry system, but the design still keeps it organized. It installs where the main water line enters the home, uses 1-inch MNPT connections, and you'll need about 3 feet of open space above the system for cartridge replacement. There's also an optional bodyguard pre-filter for chlorine and chloramine, and using that as a pre-treatment stage can extend the Pioneer cartridge life by 1 to 2 years. So if you want one system handling lead reduction across the house instead of only at the kitchen sink, the Pioneer is the one that feels built for that role. Moving now to an under-sink drinking water setup, the Kind 6-stage reverse osmosis system fits right into the best under-sink water filter for lead removal category when you want lead reduction focused on the water you actually drink every day. It's certified to NSF and ANSI 58, and the system removes up to 99% of contaminants, including lead, chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals, and dissolved solids. The treatment path combines sediment filtration, carbon filtration, a reverse osmosis membrane, and then a remineralization stage at the end. So when you fill a bottle, make coffee, or cook pasta, you're working with water that has gone through a much deeper cleanup process than a basic carbon filter. The production and storage setup make it feel more practical in real life than the words reverse osmosis sometimes suggest. The membrane is rated at 50 gallons per day, system production is 14.61 gallons per day, and the built-in storage tank holds 3 gallons. That gives you a reserve of purified water ready to go, so you're not standing there waiting every time you want to refill. It's also fully mechanical with no electricity required, which keeps installation easier and gives you one less thing to plug in under the sink. Kind also does a good job with the part people notice first, which is taste. The inline post-filter pairs coconut shell carbon with calcite remineralization, adding calcium and magnesium back into the water so it tastes smoother and less stripped out. The faucet setup is lead-free and designed with an air gap for backflow protection, which is a nice detail when you want the dedicated drinking tap to feel as clean and purpose-built as the filtration underneath it. The result is ultra-purified water that still feels pleasant to drink instead of flat and lifeless, like with most RO filters. The maintenance routine is refreshingly straightforward for an undersink filter. You replace the main RO cartridge every 12 months, the remineralization stages every 6 months, and the system uses a twist-and-replace design with no tools or plumber needed. The body is also compact at 9.75 inches wide by 13.5 inches deep by 15.5 inches high, and the color-coded tubing with quick connect fittings is designed so most homeowners can set it up in under an hour with basic tools. So if you want maximum lead reduction at the drinking tap and you're narrowing down the best water filter for removing lead shortlist, this Kind water filter is a great choice to buy right now. By the way, if an undersink RO setup sounds more like your lane, let me know in the comments what you're noticing most right now. Metallic taste, weird smell, or just wanting cleaner water for drinking and cooking, because everyone's tap water is a little different. Now, if you like the idea of whole house filtration and you're comparing the best whole house water filter for lead removal setups, the Aquasana Optim H2O is one of the strongest fits here. It's tested and certified to NSF and ANSI 53, including P473, and it boasts a verified 99.66% lead reduction at pH 6.5, 99.62% at pH 8.5, 99.62% cyst reduction, 98.2% PFOA and PFOS reduction, and over 90% reduction for both chlorine and chloramine. That means this is not just about better tasting water at the kitchen sink. You're filtering the water you drink, cook with, shower in, and run through the rest of the house. The treatment design is a big reason why Aquasana stands out above the other whole house filters. Instead of loose granulated media, Aquasana uses a giant ultra-dense carbon block, and the system combines catalytic and activated carbon for ion exchange and submicron filtration down to 0.5 microns. In plain English, that gives you a tighter, more aggressive filtration approach for lead and other dangerous city water contaminants. So the water coming through your taps feels less like slightly improved tap water and more like a complete whole-home cleanup strategy. Performance is another big selling point. The rated flow is 4.82 gallons per minute, with a peak flow rate of 8.54 gallons per minute, and the filter has a rated capacity of 106,750 gallons, so it's sized for households that want meaningful long-term coverage without babying the system. Being a whole house filter, you'll need it installed where the main water line enters your home before the water heater, with about 36 inches of overhead clearance for filter changes. That translates to a system that serves your whole house, not just one faucet, while still staying realistic to install if you have the space. Aquasana also makes the upkeep feel more manageable than you might expect from a whole house unit. You replace the pre-filter every 6 months, the main Optime H2O filter every 12 months, and the design uses a built-in bypass valve and snap ring technology for easier changeouts, so you definitely don't need to call a plumber each time. There's even an LED system that monitors water and flow rate, so you get a clear visual cue when service is coming up. Put all that together, and this is the pick that makes the most sense when you want serious lead reduction throughout the home without making maintenance a headache. Before I forget, if you're comparing whole house systems, leave a comment and share what's worrying you most right now: lead contamination, forever chemicals, or fluoride. It really helps other people reading the comments to learn from what pushed you to start shopping in the first place. And finally, for anyone shopping for the best lead removal water filter, the Cloud RO is the smart under-sink option in this lineup, and it pairs strong lead reduction with a much more connected ownership experience. Its testing shows verified lead reduction above 99% under multiple conditions, including more than 99.67% at pH 8.5 and more than 99.9% in the NSF and ANSI 58 performance data. It is, of course, NSF 58 certified, and testing shows a 98% TDS rejection rate, which tells you this filter is doing the deep clean work people usually want from reverse osmosis. So, when lead is the concern and you want drinking water that feels very thoroughly treated, this system is definitely one that you can rely on over the long term. What makes Cloud stand out day to day is that it doesn't feel like your typical sluggish RO system. The faucet flow rate is a speedy 0.625 gallons per minute, which is much faster than tankless systems. Similarly, the daily production rate is 50 gallons per day, and the system uses an integrated permeate pump with a fantastic 1-to-1 waste ratio. There's also a 2.8-gallon holding tank and 40 to 45 pounds per square inch outlet pressure, so you get faster pours and less water wasted for each gallon you drink. In real use, that means less waiting at the faucet and a setup that feels much more ready when you want a quick refill. The last stage is where the water gets some character back. The remineralization post-filter adds calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, zinc, and trace minerals, and the system targets a 7.5 to 9.5 pH range, so the water tastes cleaner without feeling empty. On top of that, Cloud's sensors track TDS at multiple points in the filtration path and send system status, filter status, tank volume, battery health, and water quality data to the app. That means you're not just hoping everything is working under the sink, because you can actually check what the system is doing. Installation and upkeep are clearly part of the appeal here too. Cloud is battery-powered, with a battery lasting 2+ years on average, so no electrical hookup is required. Plus, to make setup even easier, the fittings come pre-installed, and a typical installation only takes about 30 minutes. Filter replacement is based on water quality and gallons filtered rather than a fixed calendar, with a typical cadence of around 9 to 12 months for a family of 4, which works out to a total yearly cost of around $200 to $250, which isn't bad when you consider that Cloud is one of the market-leading RO systems. So, if you want lead-focused RO filtration with faster flow, lower waste, and a much more visible sense of what your system is doing, this is the most tech-forward choice in the group. Alright, those are the options. If you want the simplest renter-friendly way to target lead at the sink, the Crystal Quest Countertop setup is the easiest place to start. If you want whole house coverage, the Pioneer and Optum H2O are the better fit, with the Pioneer leaning especially hard into certified lead and PFAS reduction at the point where water enters the home. For under-sink drinking water, Kind is a great pick if you want a straightforward RO routine, while Cloud is the one to look at if you want stronger monitoring and a more advanced day-to-day experience. And if you want to check them out for yourself, I've put links in the description box to the best price I've found right now for each water filter in this Best Water Filter for Lead Removal comparison.